Should you pay off your debt or should you invest? It is the number one question I get as a financial advisor, and the honest answer surprises most people. It is almost never one or the other. It is a sequence. And once you see the sequence, the decision becomes much less stressful. I am Jeffrey Panic. I am a certified financial planner and a financial advisor. I have spent over 25 years helping families make exactly that call. In the next 8 minutes or so, I am going to walk you through the 5-step framework I use with clients, the same one I lay out in both of my books. Let's start where everyone starts, with the math. On paper, this is a rate of return problem. If your debt costs more than your investments earn, pay the debt. If your investments earn more than your debt cost, invest. Simple, right? Except the numbers are not what most people think. Right now, the average credit card APR on balances that actually carry interest is about 22%. 22. The average 30-year mortgage is around 6.5%, and the long-term average return on the US stock market before inflation is somewhere in the 9 to 10% range. So a credit card at 22% is not a debt problem, it's an emergency. No diversified portfolio is going to earn you 22% year after year tax-free. A 6% mortgage is a very different animal. That is a real choice. But here's the part I want you to hear clearly. The math is not the only variable. Sleep matters, family circumstances matter, job stability matters. In my second book, when I walk you through the question of whether to pay off a mortgage before retirement, I make this exact point. The answer depends on your rate, financial health, risk tolerance, and your personal preferences. There is not a one right answer for every household. There is a right answer for yours. So here's the sequence I use with clients. It is boring on purpose. Boring is how people build wealth. Step 1, take the free money first. If your employer offers a 401k match, contribute at least enough to get the full match, even if you have other debts. The average match in the US right now is about 4.7% of pay. That is a record high. This is the one exception to the pay the high interest debt first rule. 100% match is 100% instant return. Even a 50% match on your first 6% of pay is a 50% return. The match is often subject to a vesting schedule, but even with that factor, nothing on your credit card, nothing in your investment account, nothing beats that. Take the match, then move on. Step 2, build a starter emergency fund. Before you throw every extra dollar at debt, put 1 month of your essential expenses into a high-yield savings account. Why? Because if your car breaks down, or your kid gets sick, or the water heater dies, the only tool left is the credit card you are trying to pay off, and you will end up chasing your own tail. 1 month first, then after we get through step 3, we come back and grow it to 3 to 6 months. Step 3, crush high interest debt. This is credit cards, personal loans, store cards, payday loans, anything over about 10%. At 22% APR, the type of card does not matter anymore. It has to go. There are really 2 ways to do it. The avalanche method lists your debts by interest rate, pay minimums on all of them, then throw every extra dollar at the highest rate one, mathematically fastest and cheapest. The snowball method, list your debts from smallest to largest, pay the minimum on all, then throw everything at the smallest balance first. Cost a little more in interest, but the psychological wins keep a lot of people going. Pick the one you will actually follow. The best debt payoff plan is the one that does not get abandoned in month 3. Step 4, turn the dial up on investing. Now that high interest debt is gone, and we have now funded our emergency fund, this is where investing goes from grab the match to serious money. Roth IRAs, traditional IRAs, more into the 401k, a health savings account if you qualify, and a taxable brokerage account, 529s if you have or are saving for a child. In my introductory book, I walk through 9 different savings vehicles for exactly this stage. It is a lot, but you do not need all of them. You need the right ones for your goals. Here are 2 numbers I want you to sit with for a second. If you invest $250 a month from age 20 to age 60 at a 5% rate of return, you end up with roughly $381,000, and only $120,000 of that is your own contribution. The rest is compounding. If you wait until age 40 to start, you would need to put in about $928 a month to hit that same finish line. That is not a scare tactic, that is compounding. And that is why the match in step one is not optional and why we do not stall out on debt for a decade. Step five, decide about medium rate debt. Now we get to the tricky ones, the mortgages, the car loan, the student loan sitting at 5 or 6%. Once step one through step four are in place, whether you accelerate these or invest the extra money is a genuine judgment call. Here's what to weigh. Number one, your time horizon. The longer your money can compound, the more the math favors investing. Number two, the tax treatment. Mortgage interest can sometimes be deductible. Credit card interest never is. Number three, how close you are to retirement. This one is the biggest. And number four, the sleep at night factor. Do not underestimate how much financial peace is worth. For a 30-year-old with a 3% mortgage locked in years ago, investing the extra usually wins. For a 62-year-old with 3 years from retirement, carrying the same balance, paying it down often makes more sense. Not because the math flipped, but because life did. If you are within 10 years of retirement, listen closely. This decision gets sharper and the data explains why. The share of U.S. households over 65 carrying some form of debt has jumped from about 38% in the late 1980s to roughly 63% today. That is not a small shift. That is a generational change. And chapter 3 of my Blueprint book is literally titled The Dangers of Bringing Debt into Retirement for that specific reason. When your income becomes fixed, Social Security, a pension, withdrawals from your portfolio, every monthly payment you were carrying suddenly weighs more. Credit card minimums do not care that you're retired. Auto loans do not adjust. And for medical bills, over 4 million adults 65 and older have unpaid medical debt, and 98% of them had insurance. Insurance is not a shield against medical debt in retirement. One more that nobody sees coming. About 3.5 million Americans aged 60 and over currently carry federal student loan debt. A lot of it Parent Plus loans taken out to help kids or grandkids. And if those go into default, Social Security benefits can be garnished. So if you are in pre-retirement, steps 1 through 3 do not change, but step 5 leans harder towards payoff. Walking into retirement with a paid-off mortgage, no car loan, and zero credit card balance is one of the most underrated wealth moves you can make in your 50s and 60s. Whenever a client asks me, pay debt or invest, I ask a question back, and here it is. Write this down if you have to. If I lost my income tomorrow, would this debt sink me? If the answer is yes, prioritize the debt, even if the math says otherwise, because financial resilience is not just about spreadsheet output. It is knowing that a job loss, a health event, or a caregiving crisis will not force you to sell your investments at the worst possible moment. If the answer is no, follow the sequence, trust the math, and let compounding do its work. Here's what I want you to do this week. Log into your 401k, confirm you are getting the full match. If you are not, fix it today. Pull a list of every debt you have, balance rate, minimum payment, circle everything above 10%. That is your target. Check your emergency fund, 1 month minimum. 3 to 6 months is the goal. And if you're within a decade of retirement, add one more question to that list. Do I want this debt on my books when I stop working? The people I see build real wealth are almost never the ones who pick the perfect stock at the perfect moment. They are the ones who followed a sensible sequence, paid off the high interest debt, funded the emergency account, and invested consistently, and stopped bringing debt into the next decade of their lives. You do not need to be brilliant. You need to be sequential and consistent, and you need to start now. And here's one more thing before you go. If you want to see exactly how this plays out for your numbers, your debt balance, your interest rate, your time horizon, I have an interactive tool for this on my website. It walks you through a side-by-side comparison of paying the debt down versus investing the same dollars. And it shows you the long-term impact of each path. You can find it at balancewealthpartners.com. Plug in your own numbers, see what the math actually says for your situation, and then make the call with confidence. If this was helpful, hit subscribe and share it with someone who needs to hear it. I will see you next week.